Let's be brutally honest. If you're watching this, there's a woman in your life who never texts you first, but she always replies the moment you reach out. And deep down, that inconsistency hits you in a place you don't admit to anyone. Because part of you wonders, if she never starts the conversation, does she even think about me at all? That tiny doubt keeps you up at night more than you'd ever confess. And tonight, we're going to talk about the truth she'll never tell you. Truths that explain exactly why she behaves this way. See, every man mistakes communication for interest. You assume the person who talks to you the most is the person who cares the most. But women don't work like that. A woman can care deeply, feel the pull, feel the spark, and still refuse to take the first step. And she doesn't do it out of cruelty. She does it because there are rules she's been trained to follow, rules she will never admit exist, because admitting them would expose her greatest insecurities. One of those rules? A woman never wants to look like she's chasing a man she's not certain wants her back. Even if she wants you to want her first. She wants to feel chosen without risking the pain of being ignored. You think it's a game. She thinks it's survival. That's the psychology no one teaches men, and you're about to see how it shapes everything she does. And it starts with this. Women are terrified of being the one who cares more. It's not that she doesn't want you, it's that she doesn't want to want you alone. So she waits, she watches, she lets you initiate because it gives her reassurance. Your first text tells her she's safe to respond. It tells her she won't be rejected. It tells her the door is already open. Most men never see this because they're busy thinking, if she liked me, she'd reach out. No, if she felt secure, she would. But security is rare for her. And the reason she replies instantly, oh, that's the part men underestimate. She replies fast because she's relieved. She's relieved you still care, relieved you didn't disappear, relieved she didn't read the situation wrong. Her quick reply isn't laziness, it's emotional exhale. It's her saying, thank you for making the first move so I didn't have to risk it. But here's where it becomes complicated. A woman will only stay in that pattern if she senses you're willing to tolerate it. She learns that you'll text first. She learns that she doesn't have to. She learns that you'll carry the fear for both of you. And slowly, without realizing it, she builds a habit around your effort, not hers. Not because she's manipulative, but because consistency trains behavior, whether intentional or not. And the most painful part? Men like you, good men, interpret her silence as indifference instead of fear. You think you're the only one wondering why she never starts the conversation. But she's sitting there wondering why she feels so stupidly nervous every time she thinks about texting you first. Why her heart jumps when your name lights up her phone. Why she can reply instantly, yet freeze at the thought of initiating. She's not cold, she's scared. And she hides it behind silence because silence protects her ego. But let me tell you the truth, only a woman can tell you. The reason she never texts first has nothing to do with lack of interest. And everything to do with the emotional math she does behind the scenes. She weighs desire against risk, curiosity against fear, hope against pride, and pride almost always wins. Before we move deeper, let me ask you something real. If she suddenly stopped replying altogether, would you chase harder or would you finally walk away? Comment your answer below. Like this video, subscribe for more life-changing insights, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this tonight. Let's dive even deeper, because here's the part most men completely miss. Her silence is never random. Every pause, every delay, every moment she doesn't initiate. It's strategic, even if she doesn't consciously realize it. Women are wired to protect their hearts first, and they measure every interaction through an emotional lens that most men don't even see. That's why she replies quickly. Her instinct is to maintain connection once the safety is confirmed. But she won't risk reaching out first because the cost of rejection feels far too high. You need to understand something critical. When a woman doesn't text first, it's often a reflection of her inner calculations about value. She's constantly weighing who she is, what she wants, and how much effort she believes should go into making someone notice her. If she perceives that you are already invested, already attentive, she doesn't need to chase. She's already won the proof she needs, that you care enough to initiate. And this is where the trap lies for most men. You mistake your effort for weakness, when in reality, it's exactly what she needs to feel secure. Another hidden reason? Timing. Women are extremely sensitive to the concept of when and how. She may want to text you first, but only when she's certain the moment is perfect, that the risk won't cost her dignity, and that the reply will meet her unspoken expectations. This isn't about mind games, it's about self-preservation. Men often underestimate how much anxiety exists in her decision to hit send. The internal dialogue is relentless. Do I text now? What if he's busy? What if I seem too eager? What if he doesn't reply? By the time she's decided, the opportunity has already passed, or you've already reached out, saving her the stress. And here's another layer most men never consider: social validation. She observes the world around her, the subtle hierarchies of attention, and she gauges her actions accordingly. She knows that texting first can sometimes feel like exposing vulnerability in a society that judges it harshly. Even in private, she can feel the weight of cultural conditioning telling her to hold back, to wait, to let the man lead. It's subconscious, but powerful. It explains why she always responds instantly. Once the decision to engage is safe, she unleashes the flood of attention she's been bottling up. Let's be clear, none of this means she isn't genuinely interested. Interest and initiation are not synonymous. A woman can be deeply drawn to you, thinking about you constantly, yet hesitate to make the first move. Her silence is a filter, a test, and a reflection of her emotional architecture. She wants to feel in control of her own feelings before she trusts you with them. The moment you understand this, you stop seeing her delays as rejection and start seeing them as a window into her psychology. Here's the most crucial insight. A woman's hesitation to text first isn't a game. It's an emotional negotiation with herself. She's negotiating between desire and fear, curiosity and pride, connection and self-protection. Every time she hesitates, she's balancing the weight of what it means to reach out versus what it means to stay silent. And every time she responds quickly, she's rewarding herself for taking a small, calculated risk. Now ask yourself this. When she finally does text first, what will it mean? It won't just be a casual message. It will be a signal that she has measured the risk, assessed the emotional terrain, and decided that you're worth stepping into vulnerability for. That's why understanding this pattern transforms your perspective. You stop overthinking, stop chasing validation, and start seeing her behavior as a reflection of her psychology, not a judgment of your worth. Before we move on, consider this for yourself. If she wanted to text first but didn't, what would it say about her fear versus her desire? Write your answer in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more insights, and share it with a friend who needs this tonight. Now let's get even more real, because most men never see the invisible forces shaping her behavior. When she never texts first but always replies, it's not random. It's deeply psychological. Behind every delay, every pause, is a subtle mix of strategy, instinct, and self-preservation. And the moment you truly grasp this, you'll stop feeling anxious about her silence and start seeing patterns that reveal exactly how her mind works. Here's the first hidden truth. Women measure emotional investment differently. You might assume that initiating a conversation shows eagerness or neediness. For her, however, it's an indicator that you're emotionally engaged, proof that she's already captured your attention. That's why she doesn't feel the need to start the conversation. She's waiting to see that you care enough to take the first step. And when you do, her instant reply isn't casual. It's her emotional release. It's relief, satisfaction, and reassurance all wrapped into one. Most men mistake this for obsession or mind games, but it's neither. It's pure, unfiltered psychology at work. Then there's fear. Fear of rejection, fear of misinterpretation, fear of appearing too eager. Women are conditioned, both socially and emotionally, to protect themselves first. Reaching out first exposes vulnerability, and vulnerability carries risk. That's why even if she's thinking about you constantly, imagining the text she wants to send, she hesitates. Every second she waits is a micro decision, weighing desire against self-protection. Your role, without even realizing it, is to create a sense of safety so she doesn't have to risk it on her own. Here's another layer men rarely understand. Her timing is always calculated. She doesn't just consider what to text, but when to text. She asks herself countless unspoken questions. Is he busy? Will this make me seem too available? Am I overstepping? And if her mental equation says no, she waits. If it says yes, she hits send immediately. This explains why she can respond within seconds to your message. She's already calculated the safe path, and now she can engage fully without fear. Most men only see the reply and ignore the intricate mental work behind it. Now let's talk about power dynamics, because they play a huge role. When a woman never texts first, she's asserting subtle control. Not manipulation, but natural instinct. Control over her emotional exposure. By waiting, she gauges how much effort you're willing to invest, how consistent you are, and whether you truly value her. Men often confuse this for gamesmanship, but it's simply self-protection. And here's the kicker. If you panic or try to force her into action, you break the natural rhythm she notices immediately. Confidence and patience, on the other hand, make her feel safe and desired simultaneously. Finally, understand this. Her behavior is a reflection of her internal world, not a judgment on yours. Every hesitation, every delay, every pause is about the emotional balance she maintains. It's not rejection, it's a carefully maintained filter, separating interest from risk, curiosity from vulnerability. A man who comprehends this sees her psychology clearly. Her replies are generosity, her silence is caution, and her occasional initiation is a rare gift. That awareness shifts your entire approach. You stop chasing validation and start interpreting signals accurately. Here's the critical takeaway. When a woman doesn't text first but always responds, she's sending you her version of trust. She's saying, I'm willing to engage, but only when I feel safe. And understanding this transforms the dynamic completely. You no longer panic, no longer overanalyze, no longer misread the signs. Instead, you learn to read her mind without her ever saying a word. Before moving forward, reflect on this for yourself. If she's constantly calculating when to reach out, how much patience are you willing to give before you truly understand her mind? Comment your answer below. Like this video, subscribe for more insights, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this tonight. Now let's cut even deeper, because here's what most men never admit to themselves. Her silence is not a lack of interest. It's an emotional mirror reflecting your own mindset. When a woman never texts first, she's testing more than you realize. She's testing patience, confidence, and self-respect, all while keeping her own heart protected. And the men who fail this test don't even know it. They mistake the pattern for rejection, misread the psychology, and end up chasing harder, which only reinforces her initial caution. Here's the thing, her hesitation is rooted in value perception. She's constantly evaluating whether you deserve her attention at this exact moment. And while men often assume interest equals action, women see it differently. Action without value is meaningless. She wants to feel prioritized without being desperate. When you reach out first and consistently, it tells her you value her, but her delayed initiation maintains her own sense of worth. It's a delicate balance, one most men never consciously notice, yet it governs nearly every interaction you have. Another truth men rarely consider: women experience an internal emotional economy, and texting first is an investment. Every message she sends carries potential emotional exposure, risk, and reward. She knows that the more she invests, the more she risks disappointment or misinterpretation. So even if her desire is high, she will hold back until she feels the reward justifies the risk. This is why she will reply immediately once you initiate. The emotional transaction is safe, validated, and controlled. Now let's talk about timing and context, because this is where men often get it wrong. She doesn't operate on random whim. She's calculating context, your availability, your mood, the social cues around her, even her own mental state. All these variables affect her decision to send a first text. That's why she rarely initiates. She's waiting for the perfect alignment of factors where risk is minimized and the interaction feels safe. To her, patience isn't passive, it's strategic. And here's a subtle truth most men miss. Her silence also measures consistency. She watches how often you initiate, how you respond, and whether your actions match your words. Men mistake this for gamesmanship, but it's simply her subconscious audit of emotional reliability. She's wired to detect patterns, and consistency signals safety. In contrast, sporadic effort raises red flags, increasing her hesitation. Understanding this gives you a new lens. Every text you send isn't just communication, it's a report card on your emotional dependability. Finally, let's address one of the most powerful forces at play: fear of overexposure. Women instinctively protect themselves against showing too much too soon. She could be thinking about you constantly, imagining messages she wants to send, yet still wait for you to make the move. Why? Because taking initiative exposes her emotional core, and she's unwilling to risk that without assurance. Your role isn't to chase or push, it's to recognize the subtle signals, respect her space, and understand that her replies are generosity, not obligation. Here's the takeaway every man must grasp. Her reluctance to text first doesn't mean she's indifferent. It means she's calculating, cautious, and protecting herself emotionally. Her replies are proof she's engaged, while her silence is her way of maintaining control and self-respect. When you see this, you stop misinterpreting behaviors, stop overthinking delays, and start seeing her psychology clearly. You begin to read the unspoken language instead of creating drama where none exists. Before we move to the final insight, consider this. If she always replies but never initiates, are you learning to respect her boundaries, or are you letting your ego misread her silence as rejection? Comment your answer below. Like this video, subscribe for more life-changing insights, and share it with a friend who needs this tonight. Now let's expose the final layer that most men never see: the emotional truth behind why she never texts first, but always replies. This isn't about laziness, manipulation, or lack of interest. It's about survival, self-respect, and emotional strategy. And when you finally understand this, you'll see the dynamic in an entirely new light. Her behavior isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of her internal equation. Here's the hidden reality. Women crave reassurance, but they will rarely, if ever, create it themselves. She wants to know you care before she risks appearing vulnerable. This is not a game, it's a psychological safety net. Every time she waits for you to text first, she's balancing desire with self-preservation. And every time she replies instantly, she's confirming that she's in a space where risk meets reward. Men misinterpret this pattern as inconsistency, but in truth, it's one of the clearest indicators of attraction a woman can give. Her hesitation is calculated. Her replies are proof of engagement. Another truth is that she is protecting her ego. Initiating contact is exposure. Every message sent first opens her to judgment, misinterpretation, or perceived neediness. She may be thinking about you constantly, imagining what she wants to say, even rehearsing texts in her head. But until she sees that you care, the first step feels dangerous. Your job is not to panic, not to overanalyze, not to beg for initiation. Your role is to understand that her silence is caution, her replies are generosity, and her occasional initiative, rare though it may be, is a signal of trust. Timing also plays a massive role. She doesn't act impulsively. She observes, calculates, and evaluates context, your availability, her own schedule, emotional state, and the subtle cues of attraction. That's why she rarely texts first. It's not because she's indifferent, it's because she's trying to minimize risk while preserving her dignity. When she finally sends a text, she has weighed the emotional math in her mind, ensuring the moment feels safe. Most men never realize how much thought goes into what seems like a simple action. And here's the subtle, often overlooked point. Her pattern is teaching you something. Women are incredibly perceptive. By never texting first but always replying, she is testing your patience, consistency, and confidence. She's measuring whether you respect boundaries, whether you can tolerate ambiguity, and whether you can handle emotional complexity without losing control. Most men fail this test without even knowing it. They panic, overanalyze, or demand more than she's ready to give, but the men who pass it, They understand the rhythm, respect the psychology, and emerge stronger in the dynamic. Finally, let's bring it all together. Her behavior, her silence, her calculated responses, her rare initiations is not a game to manipulate you. It is a reflection of her internal world, a measure of her caution, and a signal of trust when she replies. Once you understand this, you stop misreading signals, stop chasing validation, and start interpreting her actions accurately. You stop taking her silence personally, and instead, you see it as an unspoken insight into her mind and heart. You learn patience, you learn clarity, you learn emotional intelligence. Before we end, here's a personal question for you, something to reflect and comment on. If she always replies but never initiates, are you confident enough in yourself to respect her boundaries while still maintaining your own value? Write your answer in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe for more life-changing insights, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this tonight.